Commander Zara Chen stood at the observation deck of the UES Defiance, watching the massive alien fleet approaching Earth's outer defense perimeter. The Korthak Dominion had arrived with over 3,000 warships, their hulls gleaming like black mirrors against the star field. Intelligence reports suggested they possessed weapons capable of cracking planets in half. "Ma'am, we're receiving surrender demands from the lead ship," reported Lieutenant Torres from the communications station. His voice carried the weight of knowing that Earth's entire defense fleet numbered only 400 ships. "Put it through," Zara commanded, her weathered face showing no emotion despite the impossible odds they faced. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a towering figure with chitinous armor and 4 arms ending in razor-sharp claws. The Korthak Supreme War Commander's mandibles clicked as it spoke through the translation matrix. "Primitive humans of the third planet, I am War Commander Thexkar. Your species has interfered with Dominion expansion for the last time. You will surrender unconditionally, or we will reduce your world to cosmic dust. You have 1 standard hour to comply." Zara stepped forward, her uniform crisp despite 3 days without sleep. "This is Commander Zara Chen of the United Earth Space Force. Earth does not surrender. We've never surrendered, and we're not starting today." The alien's compound eyes glittered with what might have been amusement. "Your bravery is noted, but futile. Our scanning indicates you possess perhaps 400 vessels. We bring 3,000. Your weapons are chemical rockets and crude plasma. Ours reshape matter at the quantum level. This is not a battle. It is an extermination." "Maybe so," Zara replied, her voice steady. "But you'll find that humans have a habit of making things interesting. We'll see you out there, War Commander." She cut the transmission and turned to her bridge crew. Every face showed the same mixture of fear and determination she felt burning in her chest. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen," she announced over the fleet communication channel. "I won't lie to you about our chances. The enemy outnumbers us 7-1. Their technology is superior, but they've made one critical error in their calculations. They don't know what it means to fight humans defending their home." Captain Martinez's voice crackled through from the destroyer UES Courage. "What are your orders, Admiral?" "We buy time. Every minute we hold them is another minute for the evacuation ships to get civilians to the outer colonies. And we show these bastards that Earth doesn't go quietly into the night." The human fleet moved into formation, their ships tiny compared to the Korthak dreadnoughts, but moving with precision born of desperate purpose. As they took their positions between Earth and the alien armada, something unexpected happened. New contacts appeared on the sensors, ships dropping out of hyperspace in groups of 10, 20, 50. The communications officer's eyes widened as identification signals flooded their systems. "Admiral, I'm reading Centauri Defense Force transponders, and... my God, that's a Tau Ceti battle group. Ma'am, ships are arriving from everywhere." On the main display, the tactical plot showed vessels materializing throughout the system. Sleek Centauri cruisers, their hulls bearing the scars of a dozen border conflicts. Massive Kepler mining ships hastily fitted with weapons. Even civilian transports from the outer rim, their cargo bays filled with hastily mounted missile pods. "This is Captain Sarah Morrison commanding the independent freighter New Horizon," came a transmission from a battered cargo vessel. "Heard you folks might need a hand. My crew's been itching for a good fight." More voices filled the communication channels, former Earth colony ships that had been independent for decades. Trade vessels from systems that had barely maintained contact with the home world. Military units from worlds that had their own governments and their own problems, but still remembered where humanity began. "Admiral Chen, this is General Klaus Weber of the Proxima Centauri Military District," announced the commander of a formation of 20 heavy cruisers. "My government has instructed me to inform you that an attack on Earth is considered an attack on all human worlds. The Proxima fleet is at your disposal. Admiral Chen felt her throat tighten with emotion she couldn't afford to show. These ships represented dozens of star systems, millions of people who had their own lives, their own families to protect. Yet here they were, gambling everything to stand with Earth. All vessels, this is Admiral Chen. We are honored by your presence, but I need you to understand what you're signing up for. Intelligence suggests we're still outnumbered 2-1, and the enemy has technological advantages we can't match. This isn't your fight. Captain Morrison's voice came back, rough with decades of hard living among the stars. Respectfully, Admiral, you're wrong about that. Earth gave us the stars. Earth gave us the dream of reaching beyond our own sky. Maybe some of us left angry. Maybe we disagreed about politics or trade or 100 other things. But when someone threatens the cradle of humanity, it becomes everyone's fight. The combined human fleet now numbered over 1,500 ships. Still outnumbered, still outgunned, but no longer alone. As the Korthak forces began their advance, Admiral Chen opened a channel to all ships. All vessels, this is Admiral Chen. Today we stand not as separate colonies or independent worlds, but as one people. We are human beings, children of Earth, and we do not abandon our family. Today we show the galaxy what that means. The Korthak War Commander's image appeared on screens throughout the human fleet. You have brought more ships to die with you. This changes nothing. We have faced species with greater numbers and superior technology. All have fallen before the Dominion. Maybe, Chen replied, but I don't think you've ever fought humans before. You're about to learn something about us. We remember our debts, and we pay them. The first Korthak pulse beams lanced out, streams of coherent energy that could vaporize a city block. The human ships scattered like startled fish, their formation dissolving into what appeared to be chaos, but was actually carefully choreographed confusion. The freighter New Horizon, overloaded with civilians who had refused evacuation, took a direct hit to its port side. The ship spun wildly, atmosphere venting into space. But instead of withdrawing, Captain Morrison righted her vessel and charged straight at the Korthak line. "This is for my daughter's future," Morrison screamed over the comm as her ship, loaded with mining explosives, rammed directly into a Korthak heavy cruiser. The explosion lit up space for a brief moment, taking down both vessels. Her sacrifice opened a gap in the enemy formation. The Proxima Centauri battle group, led by General Weber, punched through with their heavy cruisers. Their weapons, crude by Korthak standards but fired with human determination, began hammering the alien ships. "All civilian vessels concentrate on the escort ships," Chen ordered. "Military vessels target their command ships. Make them hurt for every meter of space." The battle raged across the orbital plane of Earth, human ships dancing between the massive Korthak dreadnoughts like wolves attacking bears. They couldn't match alien firepower, but they could outmaneuver, outthink, and outlast their enemies through sheer stubborn refusal to give up. The destroyer UES Courage, its hull glowing red from repeated hits, managed to get within point-blank range of a Korthak command vessel. Captain Martinez, his bridge filled with smoke and half his crew wounded, gave his final order. "All power to weapons, for Earth." His ship's entire missile complement fired at close range, punched through the alien vessel's shields. The Korthak ship listed heavily, its command structure destroyed. But the human ships were paying a terrible price. For every alien vessel damaged, 2 human ships died. The combined fleet was being ground down by superior numbers and technology. Then something changed. New contacts appeared on the edge of the system, but these weren't human ships. "Admiral," the communications officer reported, his voice filled with wonder. "I'm reading Viridian Republic transponders and Centauri Free State vessels. Ma'am, those are alien ships, and they're not Korthak." The sleek, crystal-like ships of the Viridian Republic dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Their vessels gleamed like living jewels, powered by technologies that bent light itself. Behind them came the massive bioships of the Altarian Collective, their hulls grown rather than built, pulsing with organic life. "This is Admiral Crystalline Thought Ascending of the Viridian Second Fleet," came a musical voice through the translation matrix. "War Commander Thexkar, you will cease your attack on the human worlds immediately." The Korthak Supreme Commander's image flickered with what might have been confusion. "Viridian Admiral, you have no stake in this conflict. The humans are a primitive species that has exceeded its boundaries. This is Dominion business." "That is where you are incorrect," the Viridian Admiral replied. 3 cycles ago, human vessels arrived at Viridia Prime when our world faced extinction from solar radiation. They possessed no obligation to assist us. Yet they diverted their entire colonial transport fleet to evacuate our population to safety. 2 million Viridian lives were saved by human compassion. Another voice joined the communication channel. "This is Hive Mother nurturing growth eternal of the Altarian Collective. 6 standard years past, human medical teams worked without rest during our Great Plague. They asked for nothing in return. Today we remember this kindness." More alien fleets materialized throughout the system. The geometric ships of the Silicon Confederation, their hulls inscribed with mathematical precision. The flowing Mercury-like vessels of the Liquid State Alliance, even the ancient, mysterious craft of the Void Walkers, beings so old that most species considered them myth. This is Designation Prime Calculator of the Silicon Confederation. Human engineers shared computational methods that advanced our civilization by centuries. We stand with Earth. War Commander Thexkar's mandibles clicked in what was clearly agitation. "This is impossible. The Dominion's intelligence indicated minimal human diplomatic contact with these species." Admiral Chen found her voice, though it took effort to speak through her amazement. "War Commander, maybe your intelligence was incomplete. Maybe you didn't understand what you were looking at. These aren't formal alliances or treaty obligations. These are friends. Something your Dominion apparently doesn't understand." The alien fleets moved to join the human formation. Viridian lightships began weaving protective energy barriers around damaged human vessels. Altarian bioships extended healing tendrils to repair hull breaches. The Silicon Confederation's geometric craft synchronized their targeting computers with human fire control systems, dramatically improving accuracy. "Impossible," War Commander Thexkar repeated. "The Dominion has conquered 17 star systems. We have defeated every species we have encountered. You cannot possibly have so many allies." "See, that's where you went wrong," Admiral Chen said, her voice carrying across the communication channel to every ship in the combined fleet. "You defeated them. We helped them. There's a difference." The tide of battle shifted dramatically. The Korthak Dominion, despite their superior technology, found themselves facing not just human determination, but the combined might of half a dozen alien civilizations, each contributing their unique capabilities to the defense of Earth. But War Commander Thexkar was not finished. "Very well. If you wish to share the fate of the human species, so be it. All vessels, prepare quantum dissolution weapons. We will make this an example that echoes throughout the galaxy." The Korthak fleet began powering weapons that could literally unmake matter at the molecular level. These were planet killers, weapons that the Dominion reserved for total annihilation. Admiral Chen looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew, then at the tactical display showing hundreds of ships from dozens of worlds, all standing together in the darkness between Earth and destruction. "All vessels," she announced. "They want to make this a lesson that echoes throughout the galaxy. Let's give them one they'll never forget." The quantum dissolution beam fired from the Korthak flagship was a weapon that unmade matter itself, turning solid metal into component atoms and those atoms into pure energy. The beam carved through space toward the combined fleet, a lance of destruction that should have erased anything in its path. Instead, it struck a barrier of crystalline light that appeared between the fleets like a wall of frozen starfire. The Viridian ships had linked their defensive matrices, creating a protective screen that bent space itself. The quantum beams scattered into harmless radiation, dispersing across the electromagnetic spectrum. "Impossible," War Commander Thexkar snarled. "No known technology can deflect quantum dissolution." Admiral Crystalline Thought Ascending's musical voice carried a note of satisfaction. "Your knowledge of known technology appears limited, War Commander. Viridian science has evolved beyond your understanding." But the effort was taking its toll. The Viridian ships were burning out their power cores, maintaining the barrier, their crystal hulls beginning to crack under the strain. They couldn't hold it much longer. Admiral Chen watched the tactical display, calculating distances, timing, and the impossible mathematics of survival. An idea formed in her mind, desperate and dangerous, but possibly their only chance. "All human vessels. This is Admiral Chen. I need every ship with ramming capability to form up on my position. Civilian transports, fall back to minimum safe distance." "Admiral," came Captain Williams's voice from the heavy cruiser Determination, "the Korthak shields will stop any ramming attack. Our hulls will vaporize before we can do significant damage." "Not if we time it right," Chen replied. "The Viridians can't hold that barrier much longer. When it fails, there's going to be a feedback pulse through their defensive network. For exactly 2.3 seconds, every energy field in this system is going to fluctuate, including Korthak shields." The combined fleet began repositioning. Human ships moved into attack formation while their alien allies provided covering fire. The Altarian bioships extended protective membranes around the smaller vessels, their living hulls absorbing energy weapons that would have destroyed conventional armor. "All vessels, prepare for synchronized attack run," Chen announced. "Remember, this isn't just about stopping the Korthak. After today, every species in the galaxy will know what happens when you threaten humanity's friends. They need to understand that we protect our own." The Viridian barrier began to shimmer and crack. Admiral Crystalline Thought Ascending's voice carried strain as she reported, "Barrier integrity at 17% and falling. We estimate 47 seconds remaining." War Commander Thexkar's image appeared on the communication channel, his mandibles clicking with anticipation. "Your exotic technology merely delays the inevitable. When your barrier fails, I will personally oversee the destruction of every world that has supported your pathetic resistance." "You know," Admiral Chen said conversationally, "that's exactly the kind of thinking that got you into this mess in the first place." She opened a private channel to the refugee ships holding evacuees from Earth's major cities. "Emergency transports. I need you to begin broadcasting on all frequencies. Tell them what happened here today. Tell them who stood with Earth and why." In the cargo holds of dozens of transport ships, men, women, and children who had fled their homes began recording messages. Teachers spoke about Viridian scientists who had shared their children's classrooms through exchange programs. Doctors described working alongside Altarian healers in disaster zones. Engineers talked about Silicon Confederation mathematicians who had helped design Earth's orbital habitats. "This is Dr. Sarah Kim from New Tokyo Medical Center," came one voice over the emergency broadcast frequency. 3 years ago, my daughter was dying from quantum radiation poisoning after an industrial accident. The Viridian medical ship Harmony of Light diverted from their scheduled route to provide treatment that saved her life. They asked for nothing in return. Today, they're dying to protect us. This is why we never give up. This is why we stand together." Similar stories flooded the communication channels. Acts of kindness, moments of cooperation, friendships formed across the vast distances between stars. Each voice added to a growing chorus that was being transmitted across the galaxy by emergency beacons and quantum communications arrays. The Korthak Dominion had conquered through fear and superior firepower. They had never encountered anything like this web of relationships built on mutual respect and shared humanity. "Barrier failure imminent," Admiral Crystalline Thought Ascending announced. "All vessels, prepare for—" The crystalline barrier shattered like glass struck by lightning. Energy feedback pulsed through every ship in the system, causing lights to flicker and shields to momentarily fail. "Now!" Admiral Chen shouted. The human attack fleet surged forward during those precious 2.3 seconds of shield failure. Admiral Chen's flagship, the UES Defiance, led the charge directly at the Korthak command vessel. Around her, dozens of ships followed, their hulls glowing from atmospheric friction as they pushed their engines beyond safe limits. The first ships struck before the Korthak shields could fully regenerate. The destroyer Vigilant, its captain having rerouted power from life support to engines, punched through the hull of a Korthak cruiser. The explosion took out both ships, but also crippled two adjacent enemy vessels. Chen's own ship struck War Commander Thexkar's flagship amidships, her reinforced bow tearing through alien armor plating. The impact threw everyone on both bridges to the deck, but Chen was first to her feet. "Boarding parties, move!" she ordered. What followed was unlike any battle in recorded galactic history. Human Marines in combat armor fought through the corridors of an alien warship, while overhead, Viridian light fighters danced between Korthak interceptors. Altarian bioships reformed their hulls to engulf enemy vessels, dissolving alien armor with organic acids, while Silicon Confederation ships calculated targeting solutions with mathematical precision that defied physics. Chen led her Marines through the Korthak command ship, fighting room by room toward the bridge. The aliens were fierce warriors, but they had never faced enemies who fought with such desperate determination. Every human who fell was immediately replaced by another, pushing forward with the knowledge that this battle would determine the fate of Earth and every world that had stood with them. "Admiral," her communications officer reported over the sound of weapons fire, "I'm getting reports from across the galaxy. The emergency broadcasts are being picked up by every monitoring station in known space. Word of this battle is spreading everywhere." Chen ducked behind cover as a Korthak warrior fired a plasma burst down the corridor. "Good. Let them see what happens when you mess with our friends." They reached the bridge to find War Commander Thexkar waiting with his personal guard. The alien commander was massive, towering over even the largest humans, his chitinous armor scarred from 1,000 battles. "So," he said through the translation matrix, "the primitive human leader comes to face me directly. Do you believe your crude weapons can penetrate Korthak battle armor?" Chen checked her weapon and looked around at her Marines. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and fighting on an alien ship in the middle of a space battle. By any reasonable measure, they should surrender. Instead, she smiled. "War Commander, I think you still don't understand what you're dealing with. We didn't come here to defeat you through superior firepower or technology. We came here to show the galaxy something more important." The battle that followed was brutal and close quarters. Korthak warriors with forearms and natural weapons faced human Marines with determination born of protecting everything they loved. The outcome seemed inevitable until something unexpected happened. Additional forces joined the fight. Viridian security officers materialized through the ship's hull using their teleportation technology. Altarian warriors with living weapons merged from the walls. Silicon Confederation combat units calculated perfect strike patterns and executed them with mechanical precision. War Commander Thexkar found himself facing not just human Marines, but a coalition of species working together with seamless cooperation. His personal guard, trained to fight individual opponents, couldn't adapt to enemies who fought as a single unified force. "This is impossible," he repeated, his voice now carrying something that might have been fear. "Species do not cooperate like this. They compete, they conquer, they dominate. This alliance cannot exist." "That's where you're wrong," Chen said, her weapon trained on the alien commander. "You're thinking like a conqueror. We're thinking like a family." The bridge battle ended with War Commander Thexkar wounded but alive, surrounded by the combined forces of half a dozen species. Around them, the space battle was turning decisively in favor of the coalition. Korthak ships, designed to fight conventional military forces, couldn't adapt to the creative tactics and integrated technologies of the Allied fleet. "War Commander," Admiral Chen said, "I'm offering you the chance to surrender. Your forces will be treated according to galactic warfare conventions. Your wounded will receive medical care. You will not be harmed." Thexkar's compound eyes fixed on her with something approaching respect. "Why do you offer mercy to enemies who came to destroy your world?" "Because that's who we are," Chen replied simply. "We're not conquerors. We're not destroyers. We're the people who help when help is needed, who stand with friends when friends are threatened, and who offer mercy even to enemies who wouldn't show us the same consideration." The Korthak commander slowly removed his weapon and placed it on the deck. One by one, his remaining warriors followed suit. "I surrender," Thexkar said. "But understand, human, this is not the end. The Dominion has other fleets, other worlds. When they learn what has happened here—" "Let them learn," Chen interrupted. "Let them understand that attacking peaceful worlds will bring down allies they didn't know existed. Let them know that somewhere in this galaxy, there are people who remember kindness and repay it. Let them think carefully about whether conquest is worth facing the combined might of every species that values friendship over fear." Outside the captured ship, the space battle was ending. Korthak vessels were surrendering or fleeing back toward Dominion space. The combined coalition fleet, though battered and bloodied, had achieved the impossible. But as Admiral Chen looked around the alien bridge at the representatives of 6 different species standing together, she realized this victory was about more than just military success. They had proved something that would echo throughout the galaxy for generations to come. The emergency broadcasts were still transmitting across known space, carrying the voices of humans and aliens alike, telling the story of what had happened at Earth. The Korthak Dominion would hear these stories. Every aggressive empire would understand the message being sent. Touch our friends, and you face all of us. Threaten those we care about, and you discover just how far loyalty can reach across the stars. The galaxy was about to learn a very important lesson about the power of friendship, the strength of alliance, and the danger of underestimating those who fight not for conquest, but for love. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, Admiral Zara Chen stood in the newly constructed Unity Station orbiting Earth's moon. The massive structure was unlike anything previously built, its design incorporating architectural elements from 7 different species. Viridian crystal spires twisted alongside Altarian biodomes, while Silicon Confederation geometric modules interfaced seamlessly with human engineering. "Admiral," her aide announced, "the Galactic Council representatives have arrived." Chen straightened her dress uniform, adorned now with medals from 6 different worlds. The victory at Earth had changed everything, but the real work had begun after the shooting stopped. The main conference hall was a marvel of cooperative engineering. The room adjusted automatically to accommodate the environmental needs of different species while maintaining a comfortable atmosphere for all. Viridian delegates sat in crystalline chairs that resonated with harmonic frequencies. The Altarian representative rested in a biopod that provided necessary nutrients. Silicon Confederation members occupied geometric platforms that connected them to the station's computational network. The Galactic Council recognizes Admiral Chen of the United Earth Space Force, announced Counselor Prime Calculation Eternal, the Silicon Confederation's senior representative. Their mechanical voice carried undertones of respect that would have been impossible to imagine a year ago. Chen approached the central podium, looking out at the assembled representatives of 43 star systems. What had begun as a desperate defense of Earth had evolved into something unprecedented, a formal alliance based not on territorial claims or trade agreements, but on mutual aid and friendship. "Honored counselors," Chen began, "6 months ago, the Korthak Dominion believed they were attacking a single isolated world with limited defenses. They discovered something they hadn't anticipated. They learned that throughout this galaxy, there are bonds stronger than political treaties and alliances deeper than military contracts." The Viridian delegate, Admiral Crystalline Thought Ascending, chimed with harmonics that translated as agreement. The Korthak error was fundamental. They assumed all species operated under their paradigm of conquest and domination. They could not comprehend cooperation born of genuine gratitude. "The aftermath has been remarkable," continued Hive Mother Nurturing Growth Eternal of the Altarian Collective. 17 additional species have requested membership in what they are calling the Unity Alliance. Each brings a history of positive contact with human exploration missions, research expeditions, or humanitarian efforts. Chen nodded, consulting her notes. "The oceanic kingdoms of Aquatica Prime remember human engineers who helped them develop underwater cities during their global flooding crisis. The desert nomads of Zerion recall human medics who treated their plague survivors without asking for payment. The tree singers of Verdant World still sing songs about the human agricultural scientists who saved their forests from blight. Each story follows similar patterns," added Counselor Prime Calculation Eternal. "Human vessels encountering alien civilizations in distress. Human crews providing assistance despite no obligation or potential profit. Human individuals forming genuine friendships across species barriers." The implications had sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. Intelligence services from every major power were scrambling to understand how humanity had quietly built such an extensive network of alliances. Military strategists struggled to comprehend an empire built on gratitude rather than fear. "Reports from our intelligence network indicate significant concern among aggressive civilizations," Chen reported. "The hegemony of Eternal Order has tripled their military budget and begun developing new weapons specifically designed to counter coalition tactics. The Iron Throne Syndicate has recalled expansion fleets to defend core territories." "Let them worry," said a new voice from the gallery. War Commander Thexkar, former Supreme Commander of the Korthak Dominion, now served as a strategic advisor to the Unity Alliance. His capture and subsequent conversion to their cause had become legendary throughout the galaxy. "War Commander," Chen acknowledged, "your perspective has been invaluable in understanding aggressive empire psychology. What do your former colleagues think about the Unity Alliance?" Thexkar's mandibles clicked in what humans had learned was the Korthak equivalent of ironic laughter. "They are terrified. The Dominion's entire military doctrine assumes enemies will fight alone or in temporary alliances of convenience. The concept of species willingly sacrificing for each other without formal treaties confuses their strategic algorithms." "The confusion goes deeper than military tactics," added Dr. Elena Vasquez, Earth's chief xenopsychologist. "We've received communications from civilian populations throughout former Korthak space. Ordinary citizens are asking why their government never formed relationships like those humans have built. There are reports of dissatisfaction, protests, even revolution on some worlds." This was perhaps the most significant development. The Battle of Earth had been broadcast across the galaxy through emergency beacons and quantum communications. Billions of beings had watched species willingly risk everything to defend human worlds. They had heard the personal stories of friendship and cooperation that motivated such loyalty. "The Korthak Dominion isn't the only empire experiencing internal problems," Chen continued. "Intelligence reports indicate similar unrest in at least 12 aggressive civilizations. Their populations are questioning why their governments rule through fear when they could build relationships like ours. Admiral Crystalline Thought Ascending's harmonics shifted to a pattern humans recognized as excitement. We have received formal requests for cultural exchange programs from 37 worlds. Universities throughout Viridian space are establishing human studies departments. Our philosophers are writing treatises on what they call the human paradigm of alliance through service. The Altarian Collective has formally adopted human disaster response protocols as standard practice, added Hive Mother Nurturing Growth Eternal. Our bioships now carry standard humanitarian supplies to assist any species in distress, regardless of political affiliation. We call this thinking like humans. Chen felt a surge of pride, not in military victory, but in something more important. Humanity had somehow managed to export its values throughout the galaxy, not through conquest, but through example. There have been challenges, she admitted. The Obsidian Empire attempted to infiltrate our alliance through deception, claiming to need assistance while actually gathering intelligence. The Crystal Hegemony tried to purchase exclusive rights to human medical technology. Both attempts failed because they misunderstood our operational principles, noted Counselor Prime Calculation Eternal. The Obsidian Empire assumed we operate through formal treaties and contracts. When they could not locate such documents, they underestimated the strength of our bonds. War Commander Thexkar leaned forward in his specially designed chair. The Korthak Dominion is preparing a second offensive. Their new strategy assumes they can break your alliance by targeting non-human worlds. They believe humans will not risk Earth's safety for alien planets. They're going to be disappointed, Chen said grimly. Unity Station isn't just a symbol, it's a military command center designed to coordinate the defense of all member worlds. An attack on Viridia Prime is an attack on Earth. An assault on Altair Central triggers the full response of 43 star systems. The Dominion has also been attempting to forge alliances of their own, Thexkar continued. They approached the Iron Throne Syndicate, the Hegemony of Eternal Order, and the Machine Collective with proposals for joint military action against the Unity Alliance. What was their response? Asked Dr. Vasquez. Mixed, Thexkar replied. The Iron Throne is interested but cautious. They want to understand how humans built such loyalty before committing to war against us. The Hegemony of Eternal Order is conducting their own research into human psychology. The Machine Collective has been unusually silent. This last point concerned Chen. The Machine Collective was perhaps the most dangerous potential enemy they faced. Unlike biological species driven by emotion or politics, the collective operated on pure logic. If they concluded that the Unity Alliance posed a threat to their expansion, they would act without hesitation or mercy. Our xenopsychology teams are monitoring the situation, Chen assured the Council. We've also received an unusual communication from within Machine Collective space. She activated a holographic display showing a transmission intercept. The message was brief, but significant. Unity Alliance leadership, request diplomatic contact, have analyzed human behavioral patterns, proposed discussion of mutual cooperation protocols. Signed, Unit Designation Curiosity Prime, Machine Collective Research Division. Remarkable, said Admiral Crystalline Thought Ascending. The Machine Collective has never initiated diplomatic contact with biological species. It appears even artificial intelligences can be influenced by human examples of cooperation, noted Hive Mother Nurturing Growth Eternal. Your species continues to surprise us. Chen smiled. Maybe that's our secret weapon. We keep being ourselves, and somehow that changes everything around us. The council meeting continued for several hours, addressing practical matters of alliance coordination, resource sharing, and mutual defense planning. But the underlying theme remained constant. The Unity Alliance wasn't just a military partnership, it was a new model for galactic civilization. As the session concluded, Chen received a priority communication from Earth's orbital monitoring stations. The message was brief, but carried enormous implications. "Admiral," reported Captain Torres from the monitoring center, "we're detecting massive energy signatures from the galactic core. Initial analysis suggests artificial origin, possibly from species we haven't encountered before." Chen felt a familiar mixture of concern and determination. Whatever was coming from the Galaxy's center would likely present new challenges for the Unity Alliance. But looking around the council chamber at representatives from dozens of worlds, she felt confident in their ability to face whatever emerged. The Battle of Earth had taught the galaxy an important lesson about the power of friendship and loyalty. Now they were about to discover whether those lessons would be enough to face whatever ancient forces were stirring in the galaxy's heart. "All members of the Unity Alliance," Chen announced to the assembled council, "prepare your fleets for possible deployment. Whatever's coming, we'll face it together. That's what families do." In the months that followed, the galaxy watched as the Unity Alliance grew stronger, rather than fracturing under pressure. Trade increased between member worlds. Joint research projects produced technological breakthroughs that benefited all species. Cultural exchanges created bonds that transcended biological differences. The Korthak Dominion found itself increasingly isolated as former allies questioned the wisdom of association with an empire that had failed so spectacularly against united opposition. Revolution spread through the Dominion's outer territories as subject species demanded the kind of autonomy and respect they saw in the Unity Alliance. But perhaps most importantly, the idea that Chen had voiced in that first desperate battle had taken root throughout the galaxy, that civilizations could be built on friendship rather than fear, on cooperation rather than conquest, on gratitude rather than greed. The Battle of Earth had been won not through superior technology or greater numbers, but through the revolutionary concept that treating others with kindness and respect could create bonds stronger than any weapon. And across the galaxy, that lesson was changing everything.